In this video, we will discuss Dictionary Section GST Act 1999. We will explain dictionary words and their meaning. Please note that explained meanings of words explained will only be relevant to GST purposes unless regulations specify any other meanings. Please find disclaimer on screen. If this is your first visit to our channel, we would like to inform you that this video is part of a video series explaining GST Act 1999. Are you interested in learning more about GST Act Australia? Please check our playlist on our YouTube channel for this subject. This is video number 10 of GST series. In this video we will discuss Division 195 from Chapter 6 Volume 2 of GST Act 1999. This section of GST Act is Dictionary of this Act. GST Dictionary have about 383 words in total on April 11, 2023. Word count is subject to change in future. Please find this section in Volume 2 of Chapter 6 of GST Act 1999 from pages 201 to 209. There is link in description box. You can access free copies of GST Act there. We will try to explain all dictionary words in our sequence videos of this playlist. In this video, we will explain dictionary words contained in pages 201 to 209 from Volume 2 of GST Act. For pages 171 to 200, please check our previous videos. We have explained those pages. We will explain from word, net capital loss, to word, retirement, of GST Dictionary. We will discuss this video in following order. 1. List of words from GST Act. 2. Explanation of listed words and their meaning. 3. A question and answer activity for you. Let's get down into. Please find on screen words from GST Act 1999. We will explain these words in later and middle section of this video. These words are from Division 195 of GST Act. This division is last division of GST Act 1999. On screen are the words from pages 201 to 209 of Volume 2. Please check our last video, that is video number 9 of GST video series. We will read the words as we go along. If you can, please pause and read other related information with words, or go to GST Act to read the information thoroughly. It will be helpful to have open GST Act Volume 2 Division 195. Not all the meanings are explained in GST Dictionary. What this means is that other sections of GST Act explain these meanings. We will find all those sections within Act or outside and try to explain words on screen in later sections of this video. Please find on page number 201. Word number 1. Net capital loss. 2. Net GST. 3. Net refund position. 4. New recreational boat. 5. New residential premises. 6. Nominal defendant settlement sharing arrangement. 7. Non-cash benefit. 8. Non-creditable insurance event. 9. Non-deductible expense. 10. Non-entity joint venture. Next page. That is page number 202, word number 11. Non-government higher education institution. 12. Non-profit association. 13. Non-profit subentity. 14. Non-resident. 15. Non-taxable importation. 16. Notified installment amount. 17. Officer. 18. Offshore supply of low-value goods. 19. Operator. 20. Outwards duty-free shop. 21. Overdue. 22. Participant. 23. Partly creditable. Next page is page number 203, word number 24. Partnership. 25. Passed on. 26. Period of review. 27. Person. 28. place of consignment. 29. Place of export. Next page is page number 204. Word number. 30. Potential residential land. 31. Precious metal. 32. Predominantly for long-term accommodation. 33. Pre-establishment acquisition. 34. Pre-establishment importation. 35. Premises. Next page is page number 205. Word number. 36. Premium selection test is satisfied. 37. Prepaid phone card or facility. 38. Preschool course. 39. Previously attributed GST amount. 40. Previously attributed input tax credit amount. 41. Price. 42. Primary course. 43. Primary production business. Next page. Page 206. Word number. 44. Principal member. 45. Private health insurance. 46. Professional or trade course. 47. Professional service. 48. Projected GST turnover. 49. Property subdivision plan. 50. Quality of care principles. 51. Quarterly tax period. 52. Real property. Next page for this video. Page number 207, word number. 53. Recipient. 54. Recipient created tax invoice. 55. Recipient's contribution. 56. Recipient's payment. 57. Recognized professional. 58. Recognized tax advisor. Next page for this video. Page number 208, word number. 59. Redelivered. 60. Reduced credit acquisition. 61. Refiner of precious metal. 62. Registered. 63. Registration turnover threshold. 64. Relates to business finance. 65. Relevant traveler. 66. Religious practitioner. 67. Representative. Next page for this video. Page number 209, word number. 68. Representative member. 69. Required to be registered. 70. Resident agent. 71. Residential care service. 72. Residential premises. 73. Retailer. 74. Retirement village. We will explain these 74 words mentioned before from pages 201 to 209 of Volume 2 of GST Act. We will try to explain mentioned words in this video in best possible manner. We would appreciate your feedback. We will have 3 parts and 9 sections explaining words for this video, 1 section for each page of GST dictionary mentioned in this video. Section 1. We will explain these words on screen in section 1 of this video, that is page number 201. You can find these words on page 201 in Division 195 of GST Act Volume 2. We will discuss these words from GST Dictionary. Please find on page. Word number. 1. Net capital loss. 2. Net GST. 3. Net refund position. 4. New recreational boat. 5. New residential premises. 6. Nominal defendant settlement sharing arrangement. 7. Non-cash benefit. 8. Non-creditable insurance event. 9. Non-deductible expense. 10. Non-entity joint venture. Firstly, we will look at meaning of word. Net capital loss has the meaning given by subsection 995-1 of the ITA 1997. Subsection 995-1 1 of the ITA 1997 states. Net capital loss has the meaning given by sections 102 to 10 and 165 to 114 and affected by sections 701 to 30. Section 102 to 10 states how to work out your net capital loss. 1. You work out if you have a net capital loss for the income year in this way. Working out your net capital loss. Step 1. Add up the capital losses you made during the income year. Also add up the capital gains you made. Step 2. Subtract your capital gains from your capital losses. Step 3. If the Step 2 amount is more than 0, it is your net capital loss for the income year. Note, for exceptions and modifications to these rules, see section 102 to 30. 2. You cannot deduct from your assessable income a net capital loss for any income year. Section 165 to 114 states how to work out the company's net capital loss. The company's net capital loss for the income year is worked out in this way. Working out the company's net capital loss. Step 1. Add up the notional net capital losses, if any, worked out under section 165 to 108. Step 2. If the Step 1 amount is more than 0, it is the company's net capital loss. Note, for exceptions and modifications to these rules, see section 102 to 30. Next word. Word number 2. Net GST. The net GST that is or would be payable by an entity for a supply is A. The GST that is or would be payable by the entity on the supply, plus B. The sum of any increasing adjustments that the entity has or would have relating to the supply, minus C. The sum of any decreasing adjustments that the entity has or would have relating to the supply. Word number 3. Net refund position has the meaning given by subsection 162-5(3). That is subsection 162-5(3) of GST Act Volume 2 page number 109. Subsection 162-5(3) states 3. You are in a net refund position if the sum of all your assessed net amounts is less than 0. For the tax periods for which GST returns fell due during the period referred to in the relevant item in the third column of this table. Third column states, if your current GST lodgement record is at least 7 months, but less than 10 months, and take into account this period to work out whether you are in a net refund position the 6 months preceding that current tax period. Next word. Word number 4. New recreational boat has the meaning given by subsection 38-185(5). That is subsection 38-185(5) of GST Act Volume 1, page number 128. Subsection 38-185(5) states export of new recreational boats. 5. For the purposes of item 4A of the table in subsection 1. The ship is a new recreational boat if the ship A. has not been substantially reconstructed, and B. has not been sold, leased or used since the completion of its construction, except in connection with I. the supply or acquisition of the ship as stock held for the purpose of sale or exchange in carrying on an enterprise, or 2. the supply mentioned in that item, or the acquisition of the ship by the recipient as mentioned in that item, and C. was designed, and is fitted out, principally for use in activities done as private recreational pursuits or hobbies, and D. is not a commercial ship. Word number 5. Next word. New residential premises has the meaning given by section 40 to 75. That is section 40 to 75 of GST Act Volume 1, page number 154 and 155. 40 to 75 states meaning of new residential premises. When premises are new residential premises, 1. Residential premises are new residential premises if they a. have not previously been sold as residential premises, other than commercial residential premises, and have not previously been the subject of a long-term lease, or b. have been created through substantial renovations of a building, or c. have been built, or contain a building that has been built, to replace demolished premises on the same land. Paragraphs B and C have effect subject to paragraph A. Note 1. For example, residential premises will be new residential premises if they are created as described in paragraph B or C, to replace earlier premises that had ceased to be new residential premises because of paragraph A. Note 2. However, premises that are new residential premises because of paragraph B or C will cease to be new residential premises once they are sold, or supplied by way of long-term lease, as residential premises, see paragraph A. Note 3. Premises created because of the registration of, for example, a strata title plan, or a plan to subdivide land, may not become new residential premises, see subsection 2a. 2. However, the residential premises are not new residential premises if, for the period of at least 5 years since a. if paragraph 1a applies and neither paragraph 1b nor paragraph 1c applies, the premises first became residential premises, or b. if paragraph 1b applies, the premises were last substantially renovated, or c. if paragraph 1c applies, the premises were last built. The premises have only been used for making supplies that are input taxed because of paragraph 40-35, 1a. Subdivisions etc. may not result in new residential premises. 2a. Despite subsection 1, the residential premises are not new residential premises if a. they are created from residential premises that became the subject of a property subdivision plan, and b. the residential premises referred to in paragraph A were not new residential premises immediately before they became the subject of that plan. This subsection has effect subject to paragraphs 1b and c. Disregard certain supplies of the premises. 2a. A supply of the residential premises is disregarded as a sale or supply for the purposes of applying paragraph 1a. A. If it is a supply by a member of a GST group to another member of the GST group, or b. if I. it is a supply by the joint venture operator of a GST joint venture to another entity that is a participant in the joint venture, and 2. the other entity acquired the interest, unit or lease for consumption, use or supply in the course of activities for which the joint venture was entered into. 2b. A supply, the wholesale supply, of the residential premises is disregarded as a sale or supply for the purposes of applying paragraph 1a if a. the premises from which the residential premises were created had earlier been supplied to the recipient of the wholesale supply or one or more of its associates, and b. an arrangement, including an agreement, was made by I. the supplier of the earlier supply, or one or more associates of the supplier, and 2. the recipient of the earlier supply, or one or more associates of the recipient, and c. under the arrangement, the wholesale supply was conditional on I. specified building or renovation work being undertaken by the recipient of the earlier supply, or by one or more associates of the recipient, or 2. circumstances existing as specified in regulations made for the purposes of this subparagraph. Note 1. The premises referred to in paragraph A could be vacant land. Note 2. For subparagraph C2, circumstances may be specified by class, see subsection 13(3) of the Legislation Act 2003. Note 3. This subsection does not apply to a supply if certain commercial commitments were in place before January 27, 2011, see item 12 of Schedule 4 to the Tax Laws Amendment, 2011 Measures Number 9, Act 2012. 2c. A supply of the residential premises is disregarded as a sale or supply for the purposes of applying paragraph 1a. If it is made because a property subdivision plan relating to the premises was lodged for registration, however described, by the recipient of the supply or the recipient's associate. Note: this subsection does not apply to a supply if the plan was lodged for registration before January 27, 2011. See Item 13 of Schedule 4 to the Tax Laws Amendment, 2011 Measures Number 9, Act 2012. New residential premises include associated land. 3. To avoid doubt, if the residential premises are new residential premises because of paragraph 1b or c, the new residential premises include land of which the new residential premises are a part. Word number 6. Nominal defendant settlement sharing arrangement has the meaning given by subsection 80-40(1). That is subsection 80-40(1) of GST Act Volume 1, page number 322. Subsection 80-40(1) states: Meaning of nominal defendant settlement sharing arrangement. 1. A nominal defendant settlement sharing arrangement is an arrangement a. that relates to an accident or other incident or two or more related accidents or other incidents, and b. to which the parties are operators of a compulsory third-party scheme, where they are parties because the person involved in the accidents or incidents was not covered under an insurance policy, and c. under which one party, the managing operator, is to make one or more payments or supplies in settlement of a claim under the compulsory third-party scheme relating to the accidents or incidents, and 2. the other party, or one or more of the other parties, each being a contributing operator, is to make a payment to the managing operator in respect of that operator settling the claim. Next word. Word number 7. Non-cash benefit has the meaning given by subsection 995-1 of the ITA 1997. Subsection 995-1 of the ITA 1997 states: non-cash benefit is property or services in any form except money. If a non-cash benefit is dealt with on behalf of an entity, or is provided or dealt with as an entity directs, the benefit is taken to be provided to the entity. Next word. Word number 8. Non-creditable insurance event has the meaning given by subsection 78-10(3). That is subsection 78-10(3) of GST Act Volume 1, page number 281. Subsection 78-10(3) states: An event is a non-creditable insurance event if the supply of an insurance policy would not be a taxable supply if it were only an insurance policy against loss, damage, injury, or risk that relates to that event happening. Next word. Word number 9. Non-deductible expense has the meaning given by subsection 69-5(3) and 3a. That is subsection 69-5(3) and 3a of GST Act Volume 1, page number 242. Subsection 69-5(3) states: An acquisition or importation is a non-deductible expense if it is not deductible under Division 8 of the ITA 1997 because of one of the following. A. Section 26-5 of the ITA 1997, penalties. B. Section 26-30 of the ITA 1997, relatives travel expenses. C. Section 26-40 of the ITA 1997, maintaining your family. D. Section 26-45 of the ITA 1997, recreational club expenses. E. Section 26-50 of the ITA 1997, expenses for a leisure facility. F. Division 32 of the ITA 1997, Entertainment Expenses. G. Division 34 of the ITA 1997, Non-compulsory uniforms. H. Section 51AK of the ITA 1936, Agreements for the provision of non-deductible non-cash business benefits. Subsection 69 to 5, 3A states, an acquisition or importation is also a non-deductible expense to the extent that it is not deductible under Division 8 of the ITA 1997 because of one of the following. A. Section 51AA of the ITA 1936, Meal Entertainment, Election to use the 50-50 split method. B. Section 51AB of the ITA 1936, Meal Entertainment, Election to use the 12-week register method. C. Section 51AEC of the ITA 1936, Entertainment Facility, Election to use the 50-50 split method. Next word. Word number 10. Non-entity joint venture has the meaning given by subsection 995-1 of the ITA 1997. Subsection 995-1 of the ITA 1997 states, non-entity joint venture means an arrangement that the commissioner is satisfied is a contractual arrangement. A. Under which two or more parties undertake an economic activity that is subject to the joint control of the parties. And B. That is entered into to obtain individual benefits for the parties, in the form of a share of the output of the arrangement rather than joint or collective profits, for all the parties. That was it for page number 201. This was first section of this video. Now we will head to section 2. Now we will explain words on page number 202 of Division 195 of GST Act Volume 2. This will be section 2 of this video, for dictionary. Please find words on screen. 11. Non-government higher education institution. 12. Non-profit association. 13. Non-profit subentity. 14. Non-resident. 15. Non-taxable importation. 16. Notified installment amount. 17. Officer. 18. Offshore supply of low-value goods. 19. Operator. 20. Outwards duty-free shop. 21. Overdue. 22. Participant. 23. Partly creditable. Word number 11. Non-government higher education institution means an institution that is not a higher education institution and that A. is established as a non-government higher education institution under the law of a state or territory, or B. is registered by a state or territory higher education recognition authority. Next word. Word number 12. Non-profit association means an entity all the members of which are non-profit bodies. Next word. Word number 13. Non-profit subentity has the meaning given by subsection 63-15(3). That is subsection 63-15(3) of GST Act Volume 1, page number 228. Subsection 63-15(3) states, at all times during its treatment as an entity, the branch is a non-profit subentity. Word number 14. Non-resident means an entity that is not an Australian resident. Next word. Word number 15. Non-taxable importation has the meaning given by Section 13 to 10 and Division 42. That is Section 13 to 10 and Division 42 of GST Act Volume 1 page number 38. Section 13 to 10 states, meaning of non-taxable importation. An importation is a non-taxable importation if A. It is a non-taxable importation under Part 3 to 2, or B. It would have been a supply that was GST-free or input taxed if it had been a supply. We will make a separate video for division in future to get updated instantly. Please subscribe to our channel. Next word. Word number 16. Notified installment amount has the meaning given by subsection 162-135(1). That is section 162-135(1) of Volume 2 GST Act, page number 122. 162-135(1) states notified installment amounts. 1. Your notified installment amount for a GST installment quarter is the amount that is A. Worked out by the Commissioner, and B. Notified by the Commissioner to you before the day on which the GST installment is due. The amount must not be less than 0. Next word. Word number 17. Officer has the meaning given by the Corporations Act 2001. Next word. Word number 18. Offshore supply of low-value goods has the meaning given by section 84 to 77. That is section 84 to 77 of Volume 1 GST Act, page number 349. Section 84 to 77 states: meaning of offshore supply of low-value goods. Supplies of low-value goods delivered etc. into the indirect tax zone by suppliers. 1. A supply of low-value goods is an offshore supply of low-value goods if A. The supply involves the goods being brought to the indirect tax zone, and B. The supplier delivers the goods into the indirect tax zone, or procures, arranges or facilitates the delivery of the goods into the indirect tax zone. Supplies of low-value goods made through an electronic distribution platform. 2. Without limiting subsection 1, a supply of low-value goods is an offshore supply of low-value goods if A. The supply involves the goods being brought to the indirect tax zone, and B. The supply is made through an electronic distribution platform, and C. The operator of the platform delivers the goods into the indirect tax zone, or procures, arranges or facilitates the delivery of the goods into the indirect tax zone. Supplies of low-value goods delivered etc. into the indirect tax zone by redeliveries. 3. A supply of low-value goods is an offshore supply of low-value goods if A. The supply involves the goods being delivered to a place outside the indirect tax zone, and B. A redeliver delivers the goods into the indirect tax zone, or procures, arranges or facilitates the delivery of the goods into the indirect tax zone. 4. An entity is a redeliver in relation to a supply of low-value goods if, as a result of an arrangement with the recipient of the supply, or another entity acting on the recipient's behalf, the entity, in the course of carrying on an enterprise, A. Delivers the goods into the indirect tax zone, or procures, arranges or facilitates the delivery of the goods into the indirect tax zone, and B. Does one or more of the following. I. Provides use of an address outside the indirect tax zone to which the goods are delivered. 2. Procures, arranges or facilitates use of an address outside the indirect tax zone to which the goods are delivered. 3. Purchases the goods. 4. Procures, arranges or facilitates purchase of the goods. 5. Disregards section 84 to 81 in applying this section. Next word. Word number 19. Operator of a compulsory third-party scheme means an entity that is required to make payments or supplies and settlement of claims under the scheme. Next word. Word number 20. Outwards duty-free shop has the same meaning as in Section 96A of the Customs Act 1901. Section 96A of the Customs Act 1901 states, outwards duty-free shop means a warehouse in respect of which the relevant warehouse license authorizes the sale in the warehouse of goods to relevant travelers. Proprietor, in relation to an outwards duty-free shop, means the holder of the warehouse license that relates to the outwards duty-free shop. Next word. Word number 21. Overdue. A debt is overdue if there has been a failure to discharge the debt, and that failure is a breach of the debtor's obligations in relation to the debt. Next word. Word number 22. Participant, in relation to a GST joint venture, has the meaning given by Section 51-7. This is Section 51-7 of GST Act Volume 1 page 189. 51-7 states: Participants in GST joint ventures. 1. A participant in a GST joint venture is an entity that a. became a participant in the joint venture under Section 51-5 or was added to the joint venture under Section 51-70, and b. satisfies the participation requirements for the joint venture. 2. However, the entity is not a participant in the GST joint venture if the entity has, since the last time the entity became such a participant, a. left or been removed from the joint venture under Section 51-70, or b. ceased to satisfy the participation requirements for the joint venture. 3. The joint venture operator of a GST joint venture must notify the Commissioner, in the approved form, if a participant in the joint venture no longer satisfies the participation requirements for the GST joint venture. 4. The notice must be given within 21 days after the participant no longer satisfies the participation requirements for the GST joint venture. Note: Section 286-75 in Schedule 1 to the Taxation Administration Act 1953 provides an administrative penalty for breach of this subsection. Next word. Word number 23. Partly creditable. A. In relation to an acquisition, has the meaning given by Sections 11-30 and 70-20, or Section 11-30 states: Acquisitions that are partly creditable. 1. An acquisition that you make is partly creditable if it is a creditable acquisition to which one or both of the following apply. A. You make the acquisition only partly for a creditable purpose. B. You provide, or are liable to provide, only part of the consideration for the acquisition. 3. The amount of the input tax credit on an acquisition that you make that is partly creditable is as follows: full input tax credit multiplied by extent of creditable purpose multiplied by extent of consideration, where extent of consideration is the extent to which you provide, or are liable to provide, the consideration for the acquisition, expressed as a percentage of the total consideration for the acquisition. Extent of creditable purpose is the extent to which the creditable acquisition is for a creditable purpose, expressed as a percentage of the total purpose of the acquisition. Full input tax credit is what would have been the amount of the input tax credit for the acquisition if it had been made solely for a creditable purpose and you had provided, or had been liable to provide, all of the consideration for the acquisition. 4. For the purpose of working out the extent of the consideration, so far as the consideration is not expressed as an amount of money, take into account the GST inclusive market value of the consideration. 5. The Commissioner may determine, in writing, one or more ways in which to work out, for the purpose of subsection 3, the extent to which a creditable acquisition is for a creditable purpose. And Division 70-20 will be explained in future videos. B. In relation to an importation, has the meaning given by Section 15-25. That was it for page number 202, friends. This was Section 2 of this video. Now we will head to Section 3. Now, we will explain words on page number 203 of Division 195 of GST Act Volume 2. This is Section 3 of this video, for dictionary. Please find words on screen. 24. Partnership. 25. Passed on. 26. Period of review. 27. Person. 28. Place of consignment. 29. Place of export. Word number 24. Partnership has the meaning given by Section 995(1) of the ITA 1997. Section 995(1) of the ITA 1997 states, partnership means a. An association of persons, other than a company or a limited partnership, carrying on business as partners or in receipt of ordinary income or statutory income jointly, or b. A limited partnership. Note 1. Division 830 treats foreign hybrid companies as partnerships. Note 2. A reference to a partnership does not include a reference to a corporate limited partnership. See Section 94K of the Income Tax Assessment Act 1936. Next word. Word number 25. Passed on has a meaning affected by Section 142-25. That is Section 142-25 of GST Act Volume 2, page number 74. 142-25 states, working out if GST has been passed on. 1. Some or all of an amount of GST may have been passed on to another entity even if a. A tax invoice is not issued to or by that other entity, or b. A tax invoice issued to or by that other entity relates to that GST, but does not contain enough information to enable that GST to be clearly ascertained. 2. If a. You issue a tax invoice or a notice under Section 84-89 to another entity, or another entity issues a recipient-created tax invoice to you, and b. The invoice or notice contains enough information to enable some or all of an amount of GST to be clearly ascertained, and c. In a case where you must pay the assessed net amount for a tax period to which the invoice or notice relates, you have paid that assessed net amount to the Commissioner. The invoice or notice is prima facie evidence of that part of that GST having passed on to that other entity. Next word. Word number 26. Period of review for an assessment has the meaning given by Section 155-35 and Schedule 1 to the Taxation Administration Act 1953. Section 155-35 and Schedule 1 to the Taxation Administration Act 1953 states, amendment during period of review. Amendment. 1. The Commissioner may amend an assessment of an assessable amount within the period of review for the assessment. Note 1. An amendment of an assessment can be reviewed. See Subdivision 155C. Note 2. This section also applies to amended assessments. See Section 155-80. However, there are limits on how amended assessments can be amended. See Sections 155-65 and 155-70. Meaning of period of review. 2. The period of review for an assessment of an assessable amount of yours is a. The period I starting on the day on which the Commissioner first gives notice of the assessment to you under Section 155(10), and 2. Ending on the last day of the period of 4 years starting the day after that day, or b. If the period of review is extended under subsection 3 or 4 of this section, the period as so extended. Extensions. 3. The Federal Court of Australia may order an extension of the period of review for an assessment of an assessable amount of yours for a specified period, if a. The Commissioner has started to examine your affairs in relation to the assessment, and b. The Commissioner has not completed the examination within the period of review for the assessment, and c. The Commissioner, during the period of review, applies to the Federal Court of Australia for an order extending the period, and d. The Court is satisfied that it was not reasonably practicable, or it was inappropriate, for the Commissioner to complete the examination within the period of review, because of I. Any action taken by you, or 2. Any failure by you to take action that it would have been reasonable for you to take. 4. You may, by written notice given to the Commissioner, consent to the extension of the period of review for an assessment of an assessable amount of yours for a specified period, if a. The Commissioner has started to examine your affairs in relation to the assessment, and b. The Commissioner has not completed the examination within the period of review for the assessment, and c. The Commissioner, during the period of review, requests you to consent to extending the period of review. 5. An order may be made under subsection 3, or consent given under subsection 4, in relation to an assessment of an assessable amount more than once. Next word. Word number 27. Person includes a company. Next word. Word number 28. Place of consignment of goods means a. If the goods are posted to a place in the indirect tax zone, the place in the indirect tax zone to which the goods are addressed, or a. If the supplier of the goods is to deliver the goods to a place in the indirect tax zone, the place in the indirect tax zone to which the goods are to be delivered under the contract for the supply of the goods, or if either paragraph A nor A applies, and 2. The goods are to be transported into the indirect tax zone by an entity supplying a transport service to an entity that is to import the goods into the indirect tax zone, the place in the indirect tax zone to which the goods are to be delivered under the contract for the supply of the transport service, or b. In any other case, the port or airport of final destination as indicated on the transportation document. Next word. Word number 29. Place of export of goods means a. If the goods were posted from a place in the indirect tax zone, the place from which they were posted, or b. If paragraph A does not apply and the goods were packed in a freight container, I. The last place from which they were collected, or to which they were delivered prior to being so packed, or 2. If subparagraph I does not apply, the place where they were so packed, or c. If the goods are self-transported goods, the place, or last place, from which the goods departed the indirect tax zone, or d. If paragraphs A, B, and C do not apply, the place, or first place, where the goods were placed on board a ship or aircraft for export from the indirect tax zone. That was it for page number 203, friends. This was section 3 of this video. Now we will head to section 4. Now, we will explain words on page number 204 of Division 195 of GST ACT Volume 2. This is section 4 of this video, for dictionary. Please find words on screen. Word number 30. Potential residential land. 31. Precious metal. 32. Predominantly for long-term accommodation. 33. Pre-establishment acquisition. 34. Pre-establishment importation. 35. Premises. Word number 30. Potential residential land means land that it is permissible to use for residential purposes, but that does not contain any buildings that are residential premises. Next word. Word number 31. Precious metal means a. Gold, in an investment form, of at least 99.5% fineness, or b. Silver, in an investment form, of at least 99.9% fineness, or c. Platinum, in an investment form, of at least 99% fineness, or d. Any other substance, in an investment form, specified in the regulations of a particular fineness specified in the regulations. Next word. Word number 32. Predominantly for long-term accommodation has the meaning given by subsection 87-23. That is subsection 87-23 of GST ACT Volume 1, page number 368. Subsection 87-23 states, commercial residential premises are predominantly for long-term accommodation if at least 70% of the individuals who are provided with commercial accommodation in the premises are provided with commercial accommodation as long-term accommodation. Next word. Word number 33. Pre-establishment acquisition has the meaning given by Section 60 to 15. That is Section 60 to 15 of GST Act Volume 1, page number 224. 60 to 15 states: pre-establishment acquisitions and importations. 2. However, the acquisition or importation is not a pre-establishment acquisition or a pre-establishment importation if A. You are entitled to an input tax credit for the acquisition or importation, or B. The company acquires the thing acquired or imported, and that acquisition by the company is a creditable acquisition. Next word. Word number 34. Pre-establishment importation has the meaning given by Section 60 to 15. 60 to 15 states: 1. An acquisition that you make is a pre-establishment acquisition, and an importation that you make is a pre-establishment importation if A. You do not apply the thing acquired or imported for any purpose other than for a creditable purpose relating to a company not yet in existence, and B. The company comes into existence and becomes registered within 6 months after the acquisition or importation, and C. You become a member, officer or employee of the company, and D. In the case of an acquisition, you have been fully reimbursed by the company for the consideration you provided for the acquisition, and E. In the case of an importation, you have been fully reimbursed by the company I. For the assessed GST paid on the importation, and 2. For the cost of acquiring or producing the thing imported. Next word. Word number 35. Premises, in relation to a supply of food, has the meaning given by Section 38 to 5. That is Section 38 to 5 of GST Act Volume 1, page number 107. Section 38 to 5 states: premises used in supplying food. Premises, in relation to a supply of food, includes A. The place where the supply takes place, or B. The grounds surrounding a cafe or public house, or other outlet for the supply, or C. The whole of any enclosed space such as a football ground, garden, showground, amusement park, or similar area where there is a clear boundary or limit, but does not include any part of a public thoroughfare unless it is an area designated for use in connection with supplies of food from an outlet for the supply of food. That was it for page number 204, friends. This was section 4 of this video. Now we will head to section 5. Now, we will explain words on page number 205 of Division 195 of GST Act Volume 2. This is section 5 of this video, for dictionary. Please find words on screen. 36. Premium selection test is satisfied. 37. Prepaid phone card or facility. 38. Preschool course. 39. Previously attributed GST amount. 40. Previously attributed input tax credit amount. 41. Price. 42. Primary course. 43. Primary production business. Word number 36. Premium selection test is satisfied has the meaning given by subsection 79-5(2). That is subsection 79-5(2) of GST Act Volume 1, page number 299. Subsection 79-5(2) states: premium selection test. The premium selection test is satisfied if the amount of the premium or premiums for the policy resulted from A. An operator of the compulsory third-party scheme offering a number of different premium amounts to the entity liable to pay the premium or premiums, and B. That entity selecting a premium amount. I that was offered on the basis that there would be an entitlement to an input tax credit for some or all of the amount, or 2. That was offered on the basis that there would be no entitlement to an input tax credit for any of the amount. Next word. Word number 37. Prepaid phone card or facility has the meaning given by subsection 100-25(2). That is subsection 100-25(2) of GST Act Volume 1, page number 382. Subsection 100-25(2) states, a prepaid phone card or facility is any article or facility supplied for the primary purpose of enabling the holder A. to use, on a prepaid basis, telephone or like services supplied by a supplier of telecommunications supplies, or B. to make, on a prepaid basis, acquisitions that are facilitated by using telephone or like services supplied by such a supplier. Next word. Word number 38. Preschool course means a course that is delivered A. in accordance with the preschool curriculum recognized by I. the education authority of the state or territory in which the course is delivered, or 2. a state or territory body that has the responsibility for recognizing preschool curricula for courses delivered in that state or territory, and C. by a school that is recognized as a preschool under the law of the state or territory. Next word. Word number 39. Previously attributed GST amount has the meaning given by Section 19 to 45. That is Section 19 to 45 of GST Act, Volume 1, page number 53. The previously attributed GST amount for a supply is A. the amount of any GST that was attributable to a tax period in respect of the supply, plus B. the sum of any increasing adjustments, under this subdivision or Division 21, that were previously attributable to a tax period in respect of the supply, minus C. the sum of any decreasing adjustments, under this subdivision or Division 21 or 134, that were previously attributable to a tax period in respect of the supply. Next word. Word number 40. Previously attributed input tax credit amount has the meaning given by Section 19 to 75. That is Section 19 to 75 of Volume 1, GST Act, page number 34. Section 19 to 75 states, previously attributed input tax credit amounted. The previously attributed input tax credit amount for an acquisition is A. the amount of any input tax credit that was attributable to a tax period in respect of the acquisition minus B. the sum of any increasing adjustments, under this subdivision or Division 21, 129, 131 or 134, that were previously attributable to a tax period in respect of the acquisition, plus C. the sum of any decreasing adjustments, under this subdivision or Division 21, 129 or 133, that were previously attributable to a tax period in respect of the acquisition. Next word. Word number 41. Price, in relation to a supply, has the meaning given by Sections 9 to 75 and 84 to 20. That is Sections 9 to 75 and 84 to 20 Volume 1 of GST Act, page numbers 26 and 342. 9 to 75 states, the value of taxable supplies. 1. The value of a taxable supply is as follows. Price into 10 divided by 11, where price is the sum of A. so far as the consideration for the supply is consideration expressed as an amount of money, the amount, without any discount for the amount of GST, if any, payable on the supply, and B. so far as the consideration is not consideration expressed as an amount of money, the GST inclusive market value of that consideration. Example. You make a taxable supply by selling a car for $22,000 in the course of carrying on an enterprise. the value of the supply is $22,000 into 10 divided by 11 is equal to $20,000. The GST on the supply is therefore $2,000, i.e., 10% of $20,000. 2. However, if the taxable supply is of a luxury car, the value of the taxable supply is as follows. Luxury car tax value into 10 divided by 11, where luxury car tax value has the meaning given by Section 5 to 20 of the A New Tax System, Luxury Car Tax, Act 1999. 3. In working out under subsection 1, the value of a taxable supply made in a tax period, being a supply that is a fringe benefit, the price is taken to be the sum of A. To the extent that, apart from this subsection, paragraph A of the definition of price in subsection 1 would be applicable. I. If the fringe benefit is a car fringe benefit, so much of the amount that would be worked out under that paragraph as represented the recipient's payment made in that period. Or 2. If the fringe benefit is a benefit other than a car fringe benefit, so much of the amount that would be worked out under that paragraph as represented the recipient's contribution made in that period. And B. To the extent that, apart from this subsection, paragraph B of the definition of price in subsection 1 would be applicable. I. If the fringe benefit is a car fringe benefit, so much of the amount that would be worked out under that paragraph as represented the recipient's payment made in that period. Or 2. If the fringe benefit is a benefit other than a car fringe benefit, so much of the amount that would be worked out under that paragraph as represented the recipient's contribution made in that period. 4. Despite subsection 1, if a supply of goods, the actual supply, is to be treated as separate supplies because of subsection 9-25(6) or 84-79(2), then the price of each such separate supply is so much of the price of the actual supply, worked out under subsection 1, as reasonably represents the price of the separate supply. Division 84 to 20 states, the price of taxable supplies of offshore intangibles without, or for inadequate, consideration 1, the price of a supply that is a taxable supply because of Section 84 to 5 is the GST inclusive market value of the supply, if A. The supply is from the recipient's associate, and B. The supply is I. Without consideration, or 2. For consideration that is less than the GST inclusive market value. Note: a supply to an associate without consideration may be a taxable supply. See Section 72 to 5. 2. This section has effect despite Section 9 to 75, which is about the price of taxable supplies. Next word. Word number 42. Primary course means A. A course of study or instruction that is delivered I. In accordance with a primary curriculum recognized by the education authority of the state or territory in which the course is delivered, and 2. By a school that is recognized as a primary school under the law of the state or territory, or B. Any other course of study or instruction that the student assistance minister has determined is a primary course for the purposes of this Act. Next word. Word number 43. Primary production business has the meaning given by subsection 995-1 of the ITAA 1997. Subsection 995-1 of the ITAA 1997 states, primary production business. You carry on a primary production business if you carry on a business of A. Cultivating or propagating plants, fungi or their products or parts, including seeds, spores, bulbs and similar things, in any physical environment, or B. Maintaining animals for the purpose of selling them or their bodily produce, including natural increase, or C. Manufacturing dairy produce from raw material that you produced, or D. Conducting operations relating directly to taking or catching fish, turtles, dugong, bêche de mer, crustaceans or aquatic mollusks, or E. Conducting operations relating directly to taking or culturing pearls or pearl shell, or F. Planting or tending trees in a plantation or forest that are intended to be felled, or G. Felling trees in a plantation or forest, or H. Transporting trees or parts of trees that you felled in a plantation or forest to the place I. Where they are first to be milled or processed, or 2. From which they are to be transported to the place where they are first to be milled or processed. That was it for page number 205. Now we head to Section 6. Now we will explain words on page number 206 of Division 195 of GST ACT Volume 2. This is Section 6 of this video, for dictionary. Please find words on screen. 44. Principal member. 45. Private health insurance. 46. Professional or trade course. 47. Professional service. 48. Projected GST turnover. 49. Property subdivision plan. 50. Quality of care principles. 51. Quarterly tax period. 52. Real property. Word number 44. Principal member, for a GST religious group, is the member of the group nominated as mentioned in paragraph 49-5c, or approved as a replacement principal member for the group under paragraph 49-71c. That is section 49-5c and 49-71c of GST Act Volume 1 page numbers 181 and 184. Section 49-5c states, approval of GST religious groups. The application nominates one of the entities to be the principal member for the group. 49-71c states, changing the membership etc. of GST religious groups changes made on application. 1. The Commissioner must, if the principal member of a GST religious group applies to the Commissioner in the approved form, do one or more of these, as requested in the application. C. Approve another member of the GST religious group to replace the applicant as the principal member of the group. Note: refusing an application for approval or revocation under this subsection is a reviewable GST decision. See Subdivision 110F in Schedule 1 to the Taxation Administration Act 1953. Next word. Word number 45. Private health insurance means insurance provided under a contract of insurance that was entered into by a private health insurer, within the meaning of the Private Health Insurance Act 2007, in the course of carrying on health insurance business, within the meaning of Division 121 of that Act. Next word. Word number 46. Professional or trade course means a course leading to a qualification that is an essential prerequisite. A. For entry to a particular profession or trade in Australia, or B. To commence the practice of, but not to maintain the practice of, a profession or trade in Australia. Next word. Word number 47. Professional service has the meaning given by subsection 3(1) of the Health Insurance Act 1973. Subsection 3(1) of the Health Insurance Act 1973 states, clinically relevant service means a service rendered by a medical or dental practitioner or an optometrist that is generally accepted in the medical, dental or optometrical profession, as the case may be, as being necessary for the appropriate treatment of the patient to whom it is rendered. Next word. Word number 48. Projected GST turnover has the meaning given by section 188-20. Note: this meaning is affected by sections 188-22 and 188-25. Friends, if you have pen, please pause video and make note. Please make note of video name and number explaining projected GST turnover. Please see video number 4 of this playlist for detailed explanation of projected GST turnover. Name of the video, GST turnover, GST Australia, video 4. Next word. Word number 49. Property subdivision plan means a plan. A. For the division of real property. And B. That is registered, however described, under an Australian law. Note: examples are strata title plans and plans to subdivide land. Next word. Word number 50. Quality of care principles means the principles made under Section 96(1) of the Aged Care Act 1997. Section 96(1) of the Aged Care Act 1997 states: Aged Care ACT 1997 Sec 96.1. Principles. The Minister may, by legislative instrument, make principles specified in the second column of the table, providing for matters A. Required or permitted by the corresponding part or section of this Act specified in the third column of the table to be provided, or B. Necessary or convenient to be provided in order to carry out or give effect to that part or section. Next word. Word number 51. Quarterly tax period has the meaning given by subsection 31-8(2). That is subsection 31-8(2) of Volume 1 GST Act, page number 91. Subsection 31-8(2) states: a tax period is a quarterly tax period if A. It is a period of 3 months, or B. It would be a period of 3 months before the application of Section 27 to 30 or 27 to 35. Note: under Section 27 to 30, a tax period can be determined to take account of changes in tax periods. Under Section 27 to 35, the start or finish of a 3-month tax period can vary by up to 7 days from the start or finish of a normal quarter. Next word. Word number 52. Real property includes A. Any interest in or right over land, or B. A personal right to call for or be granted any interest in or right over land, or C. A license to occupy land or any other contractual right exercisable over or in relation to land. That was it for page number 206, friends. This was section 6 of this video. Now we will head to section 7. Now, we will explain words on page number 207 of Division 195 of GST Act Volume 2. Please find words on screen. 53. Recipient. 54. Recipient created tax invoice. 55. Recipient's contribution. 56. Recipient's payment. 57. Recognized professional. 58. Recognized tax advisor. Word number 53. Recipient, in relation to a supply, means the entity to which the supply was made. Next word. Word number 54. Recipient created tax invoice has the meaning given by subsection 29-73. That is subsection 29-73 of GST Act Volume 1 page number 87. A recipient-created tax invoice is a tax invoice belonging to a class of tax invoices that the Commissioner has determined in writing may be issued by the recipient of a taxable supply. Next word. Word number 55. Recipient's contribution has the meaning given by subsection 136(1) of the Fringe Benefits Tax Assessment Act 1986, but includes any consideration paid in respect of the provision of a benefit that is an exempt benefit for the purposes of that Act. Next word. Word number 56. Recipient's payment has the meaning given by paragraph 9(2)(e) or 10(3)(c) of the Fringe Benefits Tax Assessment Act 1986. Paragraph 9(2)(e) of the Fringe Benefits Tax Assessment Act 1986 states: the amount of the recipient's payment is the sum of I. In a case where expenses were incurred to the provider or employer during the holding period by recipients of the car fringe benefits by way of consideration for the provision of the car fringe benefits, the amount of those expenses paid by the recipients less any amount paid or payable to the recipients by way of reimbursement of those expenses. And I. In a case where car expenses in respect of fuel or oil for the car were incurred during the holding period by recipients of the car fringe benefits, and A. The persons incurring those expenses give to the employer, before the declaration date, declarations, in a form approved by the Commissioner, in respect of those expenses, or B. Documentary evidence of those expenses is obtained by the persons incurring the expenses and given to the employer before the declaration date. The amount of those expenses paid by the recipients less any amount paid or payable to the recipients by way of reimbursement of those expenses. And 2. In a case where A. Car expenses in respect of the car, other than car expenses in respect of fuel or oil for the car, were incurred during the holding period by recipients of the car fringe benefits, and B. Documentary evidence of those expenses is obtained by the persons incurring the expenses and given to the employer before the declaration date. The amount of those expenses paid by the recipients less any amount paid or payable to the recipients by way of reimbursement of those expenses, and 10(3)(c) of the Fringe Benefits Tax Assessment Act 1986 states, C. The amount of the recipient's payment is the sum of I. In a case where expenses were incurred to the provider or employer during the holding period by recipients of the car fringe benefits by way of consideration for the provision of the car fringe benefits, the amount of those expenses paid by the recipients less any amount paid or payable to the recipients by way of reimbursement of those expenses. And I. In a case where car expenses in respect of fuel or oil for the car were incurred during the holding period by recipients of the car fringe benefits, and A. The persons incurring those expenses give to the employer, before the declaration date, declarations, in a form approved by the Commissioner, in respect of those expenses, or B. Documentary evidence of those expenses is obtained by the persons incurring the expenses and given to the employer before the declaration date. The amount of those expenses paid by the recipients less any amount paid or payable to the recipients by way of reimbursement of those expenses. And 2. In a case where A. Car expenses in respect of the car, other than car expenses in respect of fuel or oil for the car, were incurred during the holding period by recipients of the car fringe benefits, and B. Documentary evidence of those expenses is obtained by the persons incurring the expenses and given to the employer before the declaration date. The amount of those expenses paid by the recipients less any amount paid or payable to the recipients by way of reimbursement of those expenses. Next word. Word number 57. Recognized professional. A person is a recognized professional in relation to the supply of a service of a kind specified in the table in subsection 38-10(1) if A. The service is supplied in a state or territory in which the person has a permission or approval, or is registered, under a state law or a territory law prohibiting the supply of services of that kind without such permission, approval, or registration. Or B. The service is supplied in a state or territory in which there is no state law or territory law requiring such permission, approval, or registration, and the person is a member of a professional association that has uniform national registration requirements relating to the supply of services of that kind. Or C. In the case of services covered by item 3 in the table, the service is supplied by an accredited service provider within the meaning of Section 4 of the Hearing Services Administration Act 1997. Next word. Word number 58. Recognized tax advisor has the meaning given by Section 995 to 1 of the ITA 1999. Section 995 to 1 of the ITA 1999 states. Recognized tax advisor means A registered tax agent, BAS agent or tax, financial, advisor, or B, a legal practitioner. That was it for page 207 of dictionary. Now we will head to Section 8. Now, we will explain words on page number 208 of Division 195 of GST Act Volume 2. Please find words on screen. 59. Redelivered. 60. Reduced credit acquisition. 61. Refiner of precious metal. 62. Registered. 63. Registration turnover threshold. 64. Relates to business finance. 65. Relevant traveler. 66. Religious practitioner. 67. Representative. Word number 59. Redeliver, of a supply of low-value goods, has the meaning given by subsection 84-77(4). That is subsection 84-77(4) of GST Act Volume 1, page number 350. Subsection 84-77(4) states, an entity is a redeliver in relation to a supply of low-value goods if, as a result of an arrangement with the recipient of the supply, or another entity acting on the recipient's behalf, the entity, in the course of carrying on an enterprise, A. delivers the goods into the indirect tax zone, or procures, arranges or facilitates the delivery of the goods into the indirect tax zone, and B. does one or more of the following. I. provides use of an address outside the indirect tax zone to which the goods are delivered. 2. Procures, arranges or facilitates use of an address outside the indirect tax zone to which the goods are delivered. Next word. Word number 60. Reduced credit acquisition has the meaning given by Section 70-5. That is Section 70-5 of GST Act Volume 1, page number 250. 70-5 states, acquisitions that attract the reduced credit. 1. The regulations may provide that acquisitions of a specified kind that relate to making financial supplies can give rise to an entitlement to a reduced input tax credit. These are reduced credit acquisitions. 1a, however, an acquisition is not a reduced credit acquisition to the extent, if any, that, without this division applying, an entity is entitled to an input tax credit for the acquisition. Note: acquisitions relating to financial supplies can give rise to input tax credits. See subsections 11-15, 4, and 5. 2. For each kind of reduced credit acquisition specified, the regulations must specify a percentage to which the input tax credit is reduced. Next word. Word number 61. Refiner of precious metal means an entity that satisfies the commissioner that it regularly converts or refines precious metal in carrying on its enterprise. Next word. Word number 62. Registered means A. In relation to an entity, registered under Part 2 to 5, or B. In relation to a branch of an entity, registered under Division 54. Next word. Word number 63. Registration turnover threshold has the meaning given by sections 23-15 and 63-25. Friends, if you have pen, please pause video and make note. Please make note of video name and number explaining projected GST turnover. Please see video number 4 of this playlist for detailed explanation of projected GST turnover. Name of the video: GST turnover, GST Australia, video 4. Next word. Word number 64. Relates to business finance has the meaning given by subsection 129-10(3). That is subsection 129-10(3) of GST Act Volume 2, page number 19. Subsection 129-10(3) states, Adjustments do not arise under this division for acquisitions and importations below a certain value. 3. An acquisition or importation relates to business finance if, at the time of the acquisition or importation it a. related solely or partly to making financial supplies, and b. was not solely or partly of a private or domestic nature. Next word. Word number 65. Relevant traveler. A. In relation to goods that are exported, has the same meaning as in Section 96A of the Customs Act 1901, and b. In relation to goods that are airport shop goods, has the same meaning as in Section 96B of the Customs Act 1901. Next word. Word number 66. Religious practitioner means a. A minister of religion, or b. A student at an institution who is undertaking a course of instruction in the duties of a minister of religion, or c. A full-time member of a religious order, or d. A student at a college conducted solely for training persons to become members of religious orders. Next word. Word number 67. Representative means a. A trustee in bankruptcy, or b. A liquidator, or c. A receiver, or c. A controller, within the meaning of Section 9 of the Corporations Act 2001, or d. An administrator appointed to an entity under Division 2 of Part 5.3a of the Corporations Act 2001, or e. A person appointed, or authorized, under an Australian law to manage the affairs of an entity because it is unable to pay all its debts as and when they become due and payable, or f. An administrator of a deed of company arrangement executed by the entity. That was it for page number 208 of Volume 2 GST Act. Now we will head to Section 9. We will discuss words on page number 209. Please find words on screen. This is last section of this video. 68. Representative member. 69. Required to be registered. 70. Resident agent. 71. Residential care service. 72. Residential premises. 73. Retailer. 74. Retirement village. Word number 68. Representative member of a GST group is the member of the group last nominated as mentioned in paragraph 48-5, 1d, or 48-70, 1c. That is paragraph 48-5, 1d, or 48-70, 1c, of Volume 1 GST Act, page numbers 163 and 175. Paragraph 48-5, 1d states: Formation of GST groups. 1. Two or more entities may form a GST group if d. That entity is nominated, in that notice, to be the representative member of the group. 48-71c states: Changing the membership etc. of GST groups. 1. The following actions may be taken, in accordance with subsection 2, in relation to a GST group. C. Another member of the group, nominated by the members, who is an Australian resident may become the new representative member. Next word. Word number 69. Required to be registered has the meaning given by sections 23-5, 57-20, 58-20 and 144-5. That is sections 23-5, 57-20, 58-20 of Volume 1, page numbers 60, 210,217 and section 144-5 of Volume 2 GST Act page number 75. 23-5 states who is required to be registered. You are required to be registered under this act if a. You are carrying on an enterprise, and b. Your GST turnover meets the registration turnover threshold. Note: it is the entity that carries on the enterprise that is required to be registered, and not the enterprise. 57 to 20 states resident agents are required to be registered. 1. A resident agent who is acting as agent for a non-resident is required to be registered if the non-resident is registered or required to be registered. 2. This section has effect despite Section 23-5, which is about who is required to be registered. 58 to 20 states. Representatives are required to be registered. 1. A representative of an incapacitated entity is required to be registered in that capacity if the incapacitated entity is registered or required to be registered. 2. This section has effect despite Section 23-5, which is about who is required to be registered. 144 to 5 states. Requirement to register. 1. You are required to be registered if, in carrying on your enterprise, you supply taxi travel. 2. It does not matter whether A. Your GST turnover meets the registration turnover threshold, or B. In carrying on your enterprise, you make other supplies besides supplies of taxi travel. 3. This section has effect despite Section 23-5, which is about who is required to be registered. Next word. Word number 70. Resident agent means an agent that is an Australian resident. Word number 71. Residential care service has the meaning given by the dictionary in Schedule 1 to the Aged Care Act 1997. Schedule 1 to the Aged Care Act 1997 states: residential care service means an undertaking through which residential care is provided. Next word. Word number 72. Residential premises means land or a building that A. is occupied as a residence or for residential accommodation, or B. is intended to be occupied and is capable of being occupied as a residence or for residential accommodation, regardless of the term of the occupation or intended occupation, and includes a floating home. Next word. Word number 73. Retailer means an entity that, in the course or furtherance of carrying on its enterprise, sells goods to people who buy them for private or domestic use or consumption. Next word. Word number 74. Retirement village. Premises are a retirement village if A. the premises are residential premises, and B. accommodation in the premises is intended to be for persons who are at least 55 years old, or who are a certain age that is more than 55 years, and C. the premises include communal facilities for use by the residents of the premises, but the following are not retirement villages. D. premises used, or intended to be used, for the provision of residential care, within the meaning of the Aged Care Act 1997, by an approved provider, within the meaning of the Aged Care Quality and Safety Commission Act 2018. E. Commercial residential premises. That was it for page number 209 of Volume 2 GST Act. Question and answer activity. That was it for this video, friends. This is a question and answer activity for you. Answering these questions will improve your understanding of this act. You can use this video or GST Act Volume 2 from pages 201 to 209 to answer these questions. There is a link in description box below. For a free digital copy of question sheet, please feel free to contact us. Question 1. What is net GST? 2. What is non-entity joint venture? 3. What is non-government higher education institution? 4. What is overdue? 5. What is place of consignment? 6. What is potential residential land? 7. What is premises? 8. What is primary course? 9. What is principal member? 10. What is real property? 11. What is recipient? 12. What is recognized professional? 13. What is religious practitioner? 14. What is resident agent? 15. What is retirement village? That was it for this video. If you have any questions in relation to this section, please don't hesitate to contact us. Please check out whole playlist about GST on our channel. Thanks for watching. To support us, subscribe to our channel.